Yo, what's happening, everybody? Appreciate you guys checking in. It's the final one. It's it. 2024 in the books. We lose the Chargers 2034. We ended on 4-13. It was going to be a big decision on whether or not the Chargers were going to start their players, right? A lot was dependent on that Cincy Steelers game. Cincy was able to beat the Steelers, which forced the Chargers to have to play to potentially improve their spot. It was the difference between them playing Houston and then possibly playing the Ravens. Obviously, you want to play Houston first round instead of the Ravens, but they came out and they played and they took it to us. Not surprising. You know what I'm saying? We ended the season the way we started with a loss to the Chargers, unfortunately, but we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to break down our new draft position. We're going to talk about AP's future. We'll talk about the game. We'll get into stats a little bit. But I'm also going to talk about a topic that I was looking out for that had nothing to do with the game itself, and we'll talk about in a second. But I appreciate my guys pulling up, man. Cheers to you guys. Hey, season in the books, 2024 out. But
Chris over there, breaking the fog, right? Yeah, you're right.
Chris, New Year's resolution, drinking that Gatorade Zero. The zero.
Chris.
Like it.
Chris got some Tangerine in that Gatorade,
right? Hey, but shout out to you guys, man. Again, 2024 season in the books. The off season starts now. We want to talk about a couple things, but appreciate you guys pulling up. Severe, how you doing, man?
Oh man, hey, we'll end the season like we began it, man, with a loss to the Chargers. Unfortunately,
it's unfortunate, man. Chris, how you feeling?
Yeah, man, I can't lie, man. This has been a rough season for me, just from a mental standpoint. I'm glad it's over. To be honest, I'm glad I can reset. I just want to see what's going to happen next, man. So, but yeah, just like Severe said, losing to the Chargers in the beginning, losing to the Chargers at the end. And I was like an advocate of how bad Jim Harbaugh was going to be. Not saying that he's the best.
Nope. Chris, we lost you for a second. We'll wait for you to come back. But you were about to talk. You were about to say something about Jim Harbaugh. They cut you off. The Chargers swooped in and cut you off.
For real. They did.
But yeah, man. Hey, Chris, we'll let you know when you come back. But let me give a quick shout to the chat, man. Everybody's rolling in. I appreciate you guys. One thing, chat, I appreciate you guys. You guys have been strong for us this entire season. And just make sure you stick with us during the offseason because we're going to hit you guys with a ton of stuff, whether it be college prospects, mock drafts, just evaluations, a lot of the players moving forward and really what we want to see with this coaching staff. So we're going to continue to hit you 100%. So make sure you guys stay with us. We're going to wait for Chris to come back, but shout out Robert Penny. I appreciate you coming through. Dominic Fide in the building as well. Alex Torres, good seeing the building. Not a fan of Patrick Graham, I see. We'll talk about the coaching staff a little bit. Mark Kawahara, Harada. I'm going to go with that. Brandon, what's going on, man? I appreciate you pulling through right away in the building. Always good seeing you. And Billy Davis, man, appreciate you pulling up. Raider Pete, always good seeing you in the building. Sholo, man, appreciate you. TK Muldrow in the building as well. Always good. Body Snatcher Raider, appreciate you pulling up. SoCal Sal, man, you're always a real one. Yaya in the building as well. Appreciate you. Fear Raider, always pulling up as well. The Postman, good seeing you. Jason Marshall, appreciate it. Scott Rodigan in the building as well. Let's see. Clifford the Black Raider, always good seeing you. Jeffrey Show, man, appreciate you pulling up. Let's see. I want to make sure I get everybody. Cam Dot in the building. Let's see. Forrest Widow, appreciate you coming through. And if I don't get to the rest of you, I'm going to get to you in a second. I'll big shout to everybody in the building. But let's talk about this first. All right. One thing I wanted to address, it's something that I dropped a video. Looks like our boy is back. Chris back, man.
My bad, Felix. My bad.
I told you they shut you off. You were about to say something about Jim Harbaugh. They shut you off.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I was saying, like I was like one of those people that was talking about, I was talking wholeheartedly about how I didn't think Jim could be successful. He proved me wrong, man. So I gotta eat those words.
Yeah.
He did. And you know what? I think the one thing, when the coaching carousel was kind of going on, and we didn't know if AP was going to be brought back. We were bringing some coaches for interviews. We never brought Harbaugh in for an interview, not knowing if he wanted to come in or not. I have no clue. I think there was an article that came out, or someone dropped this in, that he wanted to be at least come in and interview, but whatever, it's neither here nor there.
Us Raider fans had it in our mind because he was a coach 25 years ago. That was it. We always do that. We always have these scenarios that we bring up. He probably never thought one bit about it. He probably wanted to go somewhere that had a quarterback. And that makes a difference.
That's a big difference, and that's one of the things that I think we've been saying. I know I've said is that if you want a top tier candidate as a head coach, right? Like, if you are one that doesn't want Ben Johnson, well, Ben Johnson is only going to come over here if he can get his guy, whether we already have a guy or we can draft his guy. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why draft position for us was such a big deal. And so, but here's one question. And this is something that I was looking at, had nothing to do with the game itself, but were we going to lose our actual home field advantage for the one game that we actually have a season? The only time the Raiders have a home field advantage is when we play the Chargers. And now the Chargers have made the playoffs. That fan base, I don't even know how many fans they have, but that fan base is now motivated. They're excited. And I wanted to look at the stands, and I saw two things. One, looked like those stands were empty.
Yeah.
Looked like it was maybe half full. And two, that was the most Charger fans I think I've ever seen in Allegiant Stadium. And so my concern is, have we actually lost our only home field advantage in Raider Stadium? And it's a huge deal when it comes to free agents. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Severe, what's your thoughts?
Nah, man, I just think this is one of those seasons, or one of those games, where people started writing on the wall. It was no need to even really show up at this point, of the season, to watch a team play for nothing and meaningless games. I know most of the people, most of the people want the team to lose. The people that were there, they were showing up because they want another meaningless win for no reason. But I think the people that want the team to lose, why show up and root for them to lose? Just watch for the comfort of your own home. And the Chargers actually had something at stake, right? They actually had playoff seeding at stake. As you said earlier, you much rather go into the playoffs playing the Texans, who have been struggling a little bit, than playing the Ravens, who are one of the hottest teams in the league. So the game actually meant something for them, and they showed up for their team. But I don't think that's going to be the case going forward. Even in LA, we still outnumber the Chargers and the Rams, to be honest.
And I guess because it looked like it was half empty, I think that just goes to show how many Raider fans didn't want to show up, versus there ain't no damn Charger fans out there anyways. They couldn't even fill up the damn stadium like other away teams. So
yeah,
So Chris, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, the same thing, man. I think it's just a lot of the wind is no longer under our sails, under our wings.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. But you know what? It also brings to the point where those fans that always say, "Oh, in Vegas, the ticket prices are so high, we can't go," or whatever. It's like, you guys go when you want to go. At the end of the day, those ticket prices were dirt cheap.
They were.
Yeah, and it's like, just keep it real. People just don't want to go because we don't have a winning product. We don't have nothing that's really exciting right now. I think going back to that home opener against the Panthers, that could have been a game where we really capitalized and kind of was a springboard for the rest of the season. We didn't take advantage of it. So, like you say, until we start winning games, home field advantage is going to be tough. It really is, man.
It is. I'm going to say one last point, and I'll get you guys' opinion on it. But I'm going to say shout out to the rest of the people that are coming in the building. I appreciate you guys pulling up. I appreciate you guys just kind of being with us. The back half of this season when we started doing our lives, man, I definitely appreciate it. And make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe wherever you're at. I got the Severe Raider to one side. I got Chris, Protect the Show podcast. Make sure you guys show your love wherever you're at. I'm 805 Raider, Real Talk Raider Nation. I appreciate you guys. Remember, we're going to continue to hit you guys in the offseason with a bunch of stuff, college prospects, mock drafts, any events that go on. So we're definitely going to still hit you guys. Don't worry. We ain't disappearing in the offseason. That's for damn sure. But one thing I want to say is that, players, in order to sometimes attract some free agents, money has to play a big role in just the potential that they have on a team. But in addition to that, it's your ability to play in front of a home crowd. And that's something that the Raiders don't bring to any free agents that come aboard, is that you're not going to get that feeling of taking the field in front of your home crowd and getting that, getting the stadium to blow up, if it's 3rd and 2 and you're on defense and you need to get that stop. You don't know if that crowd's cheering for you to make the stop for that offense to actually get that convert on that 3rd and 2 and vice versa. And so that's the downside to not having any home game feels, is that free agents just ain't going to want to come here if that's something that they look forward to. So it's unfortunate. So Mark Carbone in the building, I appreciate you pulling up. Ernest Biaggi, always good seeing you in the building. Abstract Raider, appreciate you rolling through. Let's see, Robert Corrido Jr. Sorry if I butchered it, but I appreciate you, man. This year's Fall Guy AP. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Raider Rundown in the building. I appreciate you pulling up. Everybody, make sure you show love for Raider Rundown, man. He always hits you guys up with a bunch of content as well.
Fire.
Yeah, always hitting you guys, man. Give some love for Raider Rundown. Dixon, man, I appreciate you in the building. Yes, I didn't watch the AP presser, but when I went on to kind of look at it, we were thinking about pulling it up, but it looked like it was only like 3 minutes, maybe 4. It was weird. Pretty sure he was probably just in and out. I'm done. Season over. We'll see what happens. So,
yeah.
Let me know, Dixon. Let me know if it was pretty short and to the point. Mark in the building as well. Appreciate you pulling up. JDog209. Always good seeing the building. We'll talk about Brock Bowers as well. We're going to go through the stats. Coach sipping Jamba Juice out of a straw, man. What's good? Appreciate you pulling through. Nizzle Sizzle. New to this one. New to the lives I've seen. I appreciate you pulling up. Trade to 4th and 5th for Joe Milton. I don't know if I'm giving up any draft capital for Joe Milton. I'm just letting you know. That's just my opinion. Let's see. Charlie Cole in the building. Appreciate you. Rafa in the building as well. Good seeing you, man.
The bilingual goat. The bilingual goat right there.
Man, for real.
Raider Jason. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys go show love to him as well. He's always throwing content out there. All eyes on G.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Show low, man. I appreciate you coming up as well. Let's see. We got more people. Man, everybody's showing up. Appreciate Brave Raider in the building.
What's going on, man? Make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Appreciate you guys coming through, for real.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I say a shout out to everybody. I apologize if I missed somebody. I'm just trying to roll through. SoCal Sal, I don't know if I said what's up, man, but always good seeing you. Remember, if you guys got a comment or something you want me to pull up, hit that hashtag, type in hashtag Raiders, then give me that question, and we'll dive into it. Again, we're going to go over the stats of the game real briefly. We're going to pull up what our draft position is as it stands right now. We're going to talk about AP. We're going to talk about some of the coaches, and we're also talk about Aiden O'Connell as well, because obviously everybody talks about quarterbacks. And Judah Joe Black in the building. I appreciate you coming up. And Robert Penn, you said, so what's the standings for the draft? I'm going to pull that up in just a little bit. But first, let's kind of jump into the stats. Game stats, obviously, we lose 20-34. Remember, guys, hit that hashtag Raiders. And we got one. AP said no comment when asked if he's going to return. Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't know whether or not – we're going to get into it. We don't know whether or not he's going to come back. But at the end of the day, Mark Davis and a couple more people up top is going to be making that decision. So I do think if he is fired, we'll probably hear something pretty quickly. But we'll talk about it in a little bit.
We heard about Jerry Mayo. They ain't even.
he didn't even have his presser.
Man, exactly.
Wait, hold on. What happened? Am I missing something?
Jared Mayo from the Patriots got fired
Already?
Already.
Oh, yeah. Well, like they must have fired him when they was walking off the. They was fired him during the handshake line. As soon as that game was over, like,
that's
was
crazy.
Yeah,
and,
after one season.
And Kraft was like, before the season, Kraft was all in on him. Like he handpicked him. He didn't even, because he didn't interview nobody else, right? He already named.
He was already the coach in waiting. So when he signed his extension at linebacker coach, it was with the stipulation that he was the coach in waiting.
That's right.
Because he had other offers. He could have went somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think what was tough is that, remember that presser that he had at the beginning of the season to introduce him, and there was like some awkwardness. He was saying some things that people are like, wait, what direction are you going in?
Yeah.
It was a little weird with his presser when he was introduced as the head coach. So, but I don't know, man, that's damn.
Yeah.
You cut the cord quick. You didn't mess around on that one. That's crazy. So let's talk about Aiden O'Connell, right? Aiden O'Connell comes out 24 of 34, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Unfortunately, I think every time Aiden O'Connell throws an interception, you just kind of get like that bad taste. Like, shit, kind of here we go again. I know he's done a decent. Yeah, it should have been. But look, he fed the ball to Jacoby Myers. We'll talk about Jacoby Myers in a second. But Aiden O'Connell, I don't think he did anything to move the needle. Quarterback is still a need. I think at the very least, he can provide some competition. But we definitely got to still find ourselves a potential option at quarterback. Severe, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel the same. Several turnover-worthy plays. He had the one in the back of the end zone that should have been called an interception, in my opinion. It wasn't. He had another one to the side, towards the sideline to Trey Tucker, that could have been called an interception, and it wasn't. So he got bailed out a few times. But like you said, it didn't do anything to move the needle. Some people that was chirping in my ear after the first quarter. I think he had like 90-some yards in the first quarter. There's people chirping. And I'm getting text. It told y'all he the future of the franchise. Look at him. He about to show y'all, but put the exclamation point. And then, what did he do? 100-some yards the rest of the game. So, he's just not a guy. And then he got hurt several times, like on routine tackles. Like,
he did get hurt.
You can't, like, multiple times. Like, you can't have a dude that's not only talented enough to really move the needle, not vocal enough to really move the needle, but then he gets hurt. Every time he gets contacted, it's just not a guy that you can depend on being your franchise guy week in and week out. I still like to have him around the organization. I think he's a viable backup. I think he's a guy that can come in and win you a game or two in spot duty, but he's not a guy that's going to carry and be the standard bearer for your franchise.
Yeah, and I'll tell you now you guys just mentioned the Gerard Mayo news. I'm sitting there going, "Holy shit! Do I got to keep my phone next to me just in case we hear something about AP?"
It can happen anytime. It can happen anytime.
So Chris, man, what's your thoughts on Aiden O'Connell after this game?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of the same. Aiden. One thing about Aiden, he will show some glimpses of a guy that can really sit in the pocket and slang the ball. And no one's ever doubted that. But at the end of the day, kind of like Severe says, he'll have his moments where, he'll throw bad balls. And honestly, I swear he gets more interceptions dropped than most quarterbacks I know. I mean, seriously, like you'd be like, golly. But I think he's just a guy that he would have to be in the right situation. He would have to have a great offensive line. He would have to have a top tier running back, some good receivers on the outside. Unfortunately, we just don't have that. We don't have the things that can make him fully successful. People get excited when he outduels other backup quarterbacks and things like that, third string quarterbacks. But you see when it's time to go against a top tier quarterback and a full starting defense, we kind of see what happens. So seems like a great guy. I wish him well. Maybe he'll still stay on the team as a backup, but guys, he's not going to be an NFL starting quarterback, at least a consistent starting quarterback. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and Brave Raider, man, we'll talk about head coach and AP just after we kind of go through the stats. So I'll try to keep I'll try to mark it so I remember, but I'll definitely try to get back to your question, man. Appreciate you throwing that out there. But I'm with you. Like, look, again, I'm gonna stay as consistent as possible. My thing is that I looked at Aiden O'Connell this season as kind of his rookie year because of just the craziness he went through last year. If you do get some more consistent weapons around him, we're going to talk about the running game. We're talking about the receiving game. One player that I'm still just kind of a loss at, and we'll talk about him. But it remains to be seen if we can get consistent offensive line play, protect the quarterback a little more, maybe get another good weapon, a true number one receiver. Could that help Aiden O'Connell? I think it can. Maybe give him some consistency with a decent offensive coordinator. I'm not gonna lose confidence in Aiden O'Connell, but at the same time, I do think we need to bring somebody else in to definitely provide competition and just challenge him for the spot, whether it be a late first round quarterback, maybe second round quarterback. But I've always said if Cam Ward does drop to us, I'd pull the trigger. But I definitely think if you have the opportunity to upgrade, you upgrade 100%.
Right away.
I'm gonna get back down, but everybody make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe wherever you're at. Appreciate everybody in the building. I'm gonna get to some of the other people that are just coming through, but let's take a look at the running game. Running game was basically non-existent. Let's do this. I'm not sure who this Collier kid is, to be honest with you. We saw him return some kickoffs last game. He got in the backfield a little bit, but no Dylan Labe, just to kind of see what he could do. Alexander Mattson got some work, but 12 carries total for the team. Take away, Aiden O'Connell ran his ass for first down when he got hurt, but just no run game whatsoever.
No.
Severe, what's your thoughts on the running stats today?
Yeah, we kind of returned back to normal and kind of where we were, for most of the year. And the Chargers are a good run defense. But we kind of see how important the run game has been to Aiden O'Connell's success. When we were able to run the ball, we were able to do play action, do some misdirection, and he was able to thrive off of that a little bit. Now we really couldn't run this week, and we put a lot more on him and his ability to play quarterback. And like most young quarterbacks, right? Like if you don't have a run game, you expect the young quarterback to win the game. They have difficulty doing that. So you kind of regress to the mean, him and the run game, and we got to upgrade in the backfield. We need some young guys, some young pieces. We need some more dynamic guys, some people that can hit the hole. Pause and
Bro, I'll pour myself another drink after that one. Appreciate it.
that can get north and south in a hurry. We saw a little bit out of Sincere. Then he did what Sincere does, and that's get hurt. We had hope early in the season for Madison, but we kind of see why Minnesota let him go. I don't know who the heck Chris Collier was. And the AP said, earlier in the week that he said Chris Collier was going to get some carries, but he also said that Dylan Labe was going to get some carries. And one of those things came true. So I don't know.
I saw him in the backfield one time.
Yeah,
that was it. And did nothing.
Yeah, and then he was split out too. I saw him split out when it was like 5 wides or whatever.
Yeah,
he was. I don't know.
So, yeah, it's a struggle, man.
I think Amir Abdullah not being there really hurt, because Amir Abdullah, man, he balled out last week. And I think just his ability to be able to find the hole, make the right cuts, you can see a difference in just our running game when we have a running back there that can find the right holes and make the right cuts. And so unfortunately, no Amir Abdullah, we knew it was going to hurt, but man, 12, I guess technically 8 carries minus those 13 yards. That's damn near 23 yards for the entire game rushing, which is ridiculous. You don't win off of that. Right away does have a question. Would you trade for JJ Dynamite McCarthy? No. I just don't want to give up draft capital for it, honestly.
Chris is the Wolverines fan. He watched JJ McCarthy. Every throw JJ McCarthy made his entire career.
His freshman spring game. No, I don't want JJ at all.
So, and again, my biggest thing is one, don't want to give up that draft capital. They're probably going to ask there's going to be some teams probably. There's already been reports saying that there's going to be teams calling on him, and so it might be a little bit of a bidding war. You just don't know. But I'd be surprised if the Vikings do go off of him. You let JJ McCarthy sit for 2 years on a rookie contract.
He's so young too.
Extend him when Sam Darnold kind of possibly comes back down to earth.
He gets his entire rookie contract and still be younger than no conflicts right now.
That's a fact. That's
a fact. That's true.
Yeah.
So I would much rather hold that draft capital, probably get a quarterback this year, or if the season turns out the same next year, then you're in position to potentially get another decent quarterback in a draft. So I just wouldn't. That just wouldn't be me. But I appreciate the question right away. Appreciate you. Real quick. Oh, you see more comments? I get down to the bottom of the comments.
I see a second person.
Hold on, let me. I don't know. I'm sure I'll see when I get down to the comments.
You'll see it's a certain person here.
I'm sure. So let's do this. Let's get to receivers real quick. Again, chat. Make sure you hit that hashtag Raiders. Then give me a comment. I'll try to pull it up. Jacoby Myers. I dropped a video yesterday, I think it was, basically talking about Jacoby Myers. And, man, I wanted to see Jacoby Myers hit his first 1,000-yard season. And we came out hot, hitting him quick. But unfortunately, it was the detriment of not really feeding Brock Bowers too much, which I wish we would have done. But, we hit Jacoby Myers, and we hit him quick. And I think between Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, there's definitely two individuals we got to build this offense around. Chris, what's your thoughts on Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, man, I'm a big Jacoby fan, man. Just you can just tell from his energy. You can tell he's good in the locker room.
Doesn't drop balls.
Yeah, doesn't drop balls. He's selfless. He puts a team first. He does the dirty work. He's a guy that's blocking downfield. Kind of give you that. He's not as talented, but he gives you like that Anquan Bolden feel, like a guy that does that dirty work and don't mind doing it. So, I was very glad to see that he got his first 1,000-yard season. He's a guy that I definitely want us to, because it's how many years is he's not a will he be a free agent this year? I don't think so. Will he?
No.
Or does he still a couple years?
This is somebody that I'm sitting there going, do we need to extend? Because
I definitely do. Yeah,
he's due $10 million next year. But off the season that he's having, if we could extend him, I say pull the trigger.
No, you got to, because you got a guy that doesn't quit. Again, no matter how bad things go. I mean, he was there for the beginning of the end for the Patriots. And he didn't give up. He kept his head down, kept fighting. Those type of guys you want in the locker room. So get him in there, get another dominant wide receiver one on the other side, with Brock, and get a run game, then we can start building something. But you definitely don't let Myers get out of here. Right now is the time to extend him.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Severe, what's your thoughts on Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, man, I'm just, tip of the cap to Jacoby Myers, his first 1,000-yard season, and to do it in this dumpster fire, that is to be commended. Him and Brock Bowers were essentially the only highlights on offense. And he's just like I've said early in the year, he's probably my favorite Raider, especially on offense. Just the way he carries himself, man. Doesn't complain about targets. Doesn't complain about stats. How many passes he catches, the quarterback play calling, any of that. He just goes out there and does his job. Willing to do all the dirty work. And you never hear a peep out of him, man. And that's the kind of guy, guys you want. He's like the Adam Butler on offense.
Yeah, that's very good comparison.
Yeah, he does all the dirty work. Very good player, underrated. I'm glad we have him, and to have him for $10 million, that is a steal. That is an absolute steal.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so, look, two things, right? Brock Bowers, I wish we could have just fed him more. I wish we could have. I think his first catch might have been, he went 4 for 50 with a touchdown, obviously late in the game. But I think it was more than halfway through the third quarter was his first catch. which is insane to me. But it is what it is. But wish we could have fed him more. But he did. I think he held on the most rookie receiving or receptions in the season, most rookie yards. I mean, he continues to either hold on or break the record. So shout out to him, man. Always good seeing a first round draft pick thrive. But here's one question. Trey Tucker, 3 receptions, 24 yards. All season long, I have been skeptical on whether or not he can be the guy to stretch the field, and I'm just not seeing it. I understand that Aiden O'Connell, earlier in the season, we didn't have the offensive line to kind of sustain their blocks in order to get the guys downfield to possibly, make those deep balls. But man, like Trey Tucker's just not that guy. I'm struggling to see it. Chris, what's your thoughts on Trey Tucker?
Yeah, man, it sucks, man. Because I thought he was going to have a big season this year. He it's like he can't get the separation, and it's just he doesn't have the chemistry with really any of the quarterbacks. So that's unfortunate, man. Because I wanted him to do well, especially because he was the pick for that Darren Waller. So I was always wanting to see what that person was going to become. So, but you look around the league at some of the other guys that stretch the field. They seem to be doing it a lot better. I don't want to give up on him necessarily yet, but he definitely underachieved for the expectations I had for him.
Yeah, I'm with you. Severe. What's your thoughts on Trey Tucker?
Yeah, man. Be honest with you, I never liked Trey Tucker. I never from the beginning. I didn't like him, and I know everybody just love. And it's one of those situations where it would piss me off because people are, that's our version of Tyreek Hill, baby. We got our Tyreek Hill, and I'd be like, bro. And I was telling people, if he turns out to be Dante Hall, I will be doing backflips. If we get that.
I remember you saying that.
I'm be over the moon because I didn't see it at Cincinnati. Like I said, his teammate Tyler Scott, I thought was a better player coming out of Cincinnati. And for some reason we elected to go with Trey Tucker, and then they had all these stupid reasons like, Trey Tucker was a wrestler. So what does that have to do with anything, bro? We played football. I don't care if he played badminton. What does that have to do with his ability to play football? So, and it just never turned into anything, and I was happy to see him get close to Devontae and really try and really make the effort. But, no matter, you can be the hardest worker in the world, but if you just don't have it, you don't look at Tim Tebow, right? Nobody worked harder than Tim Tebow. Yeah. But if you don't have it, you just don't have it. And some guys have it and some guys don't. So I don't want to give up on him yet. Because like I said, he's a worker. Maybe he's a late bloomer. Maybe we can still do something, find a spot, find something to do with him, right? Even if it's just gadget plays, maybe we can still utilize him in some way. But we definitely need to find an upgrade in terms of a player that's able to stretch the field.
And I do feel that we don't necessarily give him the opportunity to have the ball in space. Because again, I always go back to Worthy, I know we talked about it the other day, Worthy's a real receiver and he can run all the routes, but I still don't feel like we give the ball to Tucker in space where he can even make a play, to get that one-on-one matchup in open field.
Scheme him open, give him opportunity.
Yeah, scheme him open. I feel like, we will try to go deep or run him deep, but besides that, we don't do much to get his hands on the ball. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. We can barely execute regular plays. So we shouldn't be
I know.
Should be doing no trick plays.
Why are you trying to get creative and shit?
Yeah, I'm doing way too much, man. Way too much.
Oh man. Jared, for sure you're saying Devontae said Jacoby's the biggest secret. Yeah. No, and it shows, man. I think he had 0 drops in the season, which is crazy. And so there was another comment. Let's see. It was from, let's go Raider Pete. Hey, we're going to talk about the draft in just a second. We'll talk about our draft position. So I'll definitely get back to your question, man. I appreciate it. But I appreciate everybody in the building, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Last post-game breakdown of the season. And I appreciate everybody coming through. Trying to say what's up to everybody. Jay in the building. Appreciate you coming up.
What's going on, Jay?
G Farogis. I hate to butcher it. I'm gonna call you G-Var in a little bit, but I appreciate you pulling up. Raiders are the only team in the AFC West that didn't make the playoffs. It's pathetic. We're going to talk about the coaching staff in just a second. Pac-Man B, you're saying AOC is trash. A lot of people are saying the same thing. It's I think everybody does want a quarterback, but we're going to talk about quarterbacks here in just a little bit. Wild Turkey 74, appreciate you in the building. Always good seeing you in. Arnie Guard's in the building as well. Appreciate you pulling up. Let's talk about defense. The only thing I think we can talk about defense, we do our film study all the time, man. And I think we have our film study all the time, and we know who we want to bring back. Adam Butler, all those guys. And we got some issues at corner. You got. Let's go back to the receivers real quick. Quentin Johnson goes 13 for 186 yards.
He looked like Megatron today.
I mean,
we made him look like Megatron.
Jack Jones has not shown to be the number one corner that we thought he could have molded himself into. Obviously, Jacorian Bennett's going to be our number one. DC Richardson. Growing pains as a rookie, so I get it. Got to give him some time. I'm all right with it.
He's not ready.
Yeah,
Man.
give him some time. He's a fourth rounder, right? There's not a whole lot you expect out of a fourth rounder, so give him some time. But I do think a number two corner is something that needs to be on our radar in this offseason. Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, gotta be, because also I'm not sure what I want to do with Nate Hobbs yet, to be quite honest. Nate Hobbs is a dog, but we have to look at corner. That's why, honestly, I know we'll probably talk about it later. If Will Johnson's there at 6, I might have to, pull the trigger there. But we definitely need to get better. Probably get some veterans in the offseason as well. But Jack Jones, I think he'll probably be going along with AP more than likely. So,
I'm watching my phone just in case.
Yeah.
Just we get an update.
And DCAM, like I said, he didn't show me at all the flashes that JB showed me, the year before that made me, willing to die on the hill, about Bennett. I couldn't do that about Richardson. So we have to hit the CB market pretty hard. And
sitting at number 6, and we're going to go through the draft. It's going to open up a lot of angles that we could take 100%. And so, Steve, man, I appreciate the super chat. You're saying Telesco drafted Quentin Johnson the 1st and Darius Davis in the 4th, both from TCU in the 2023 draft. We never really replaced Adams and Hunter. This year, we should also draft 2 receivers. So I'll tell you, man, looking at the stats, let me scroll back up. Man, I'm watching Ladd McConkey going, Chargers got their own Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
I mean,
but more explosive.
That kid is nasty.
He gets busy.
Hunter Renfrow during his best season. But, look, Quentin Johnson, Telesco did draft Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson has had drop issues all season long. We just decided to allow him to wake his ass up.
Yeah,
that's what sucks, and so that's what kind of prompts us to start talking about our cornerback room, because I think we need help. And so, guys, we're going to talk about the head coach, but let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts on, or in the comment section, let me know what your thoughts on Tom Telesco. So I'll take a look. Hit that hashtag Raiders, and then let me know your thoughts on Tom Telesco. We'll definitely take a look at it. But, real quick, we'll look at the. Let's see. Daniel Carlson, 2 for 2, 47 yards. Again, getting back to his old ways. He's had some bumps in the road a little bit this season, and he's been on point. So definitely good to see Daniel Carlson kind of get back into the swing of things. Arnie Garza, you're saying no pressure on quarterback all game except for Butler. Butler, our guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the one that actually, it was the twist again that we always see between him and Tyree Wilson. You know, Tyree Wilson was late again. We'll definitely look at the film and see how he did it. But Adam Butler was the one that tried to create the double team and still got off and made the sack. So guy's an absolute stud. Red or white, man, Jack Jones is trash. According to Ben, always hurt. Yeah, I think he was hurt towards the tail end of last season or had some injury issues last season. But yeah, you know, he is hurt, but we'll see if we can.
I think last season it was more or less he kind of got benched, honestly, more than anything.
So no, yeah, appreciate everybody in the chat. Let's go ahead and that's kind of the stats, guys. Any last thoughts on the stats? Nothing too crazy, but
no, man, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. I mean,
what did Tyree Wilson have?
Let's take a look.
It was one tackle. One
tackle. One tackle was on a screen that he jumped out in.
Yeah.
Where is he at? Tyree.
At the very bottom. At the very bottom. The last person.
One tackle. But our boy, Jonah Laulu.
Man.
He had that big third and short in the beginning of the game. Yeah, man. I like that kid.
Yeah, 7 tackles for a guy on the line. I mean, I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, and so no other surprises. Devon Diablo had a decent game. You know, maybe he's trying to put some highlights together a little bit for the next guy or for the next team. But no other surprise. Trevon Merrick, stud. We got to definitely bring him back. And so we got one. Let's see. We wish we drafted Hart instead of Richardson. The medicals really kept Hart from being a 3rd round pick. Yeah, a lot of people were high on Hart at Notre Dame. I'm with you. Will Tyree, man, right away. Come with the jokes on that. We're switching to the draft. All right, let's talk about the draft. I'm gonna try to find the other comments. I tried to kind of highlight them. A lot of people talking about who we want to pick in the draft, and so I think Raider Pete, you came up. You said if Shedeur doesn't slide, man, I'll take Shedeur if he slides to the 3rd round. All right, I'm putting that out there.
You're going to Nancy Kerrigan slide his way out.
Man.
But that's just my opinion. If Shedeur doesn't slide, is Gentry the overall healthy playmaker at pick 6? And so we are sitting at number 6. Okay, so let me know, guys. Who do you guys want at number 6? Let me know in the comments. Hit that hashtag Raiders first so I see it. And I'll try to bring it up. Man, you know, it kind of depending on the position group. And when we go into the offseason, I'm excited to be at 6, man. Definitely better than 8, 100%. But as we go in the offseason, we're definitely going to take a look at all the options and possibilities when it comes to the players and the prospects coming through. But, man, it really does depend on what you're trying to target. If you even have a chance at the top player at that position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, guys, we're sitting at number 6. I'm going to look at the chat in a second, but since we're sitting there, Severe, I'll throw it to you first. Who do you think we're going after at number 6?
I think, honestly, I'm looking at Will Johnson. I think we need another guy, impact corner across from Jacorian. You know, we've said it before, Jack Jones is an AP dependent player. And even with AP here, he wasn't that good this year. So if we get rid of AP, I honestly don't see him being part of our future plans. So I think we need to upgrade at the corner position. So him and then Teteroa. I mean, I think those are the 2 guys: is Teteroa or Will Johnson. Kind of depending on what the team feels about the Cameron Richardson. I guess that will determine whether or not they go after McMillan or if they go after Will Johnson. But I'll be happy with either one of those guys.
All right, man. Chris, what's your thoughts? What's your move at 6?
To be honest, I'm I'd want to take a look at one of my Michigan guys, man. You know, either Mason Graham. Even though I do like Butler a lot, but someone like Graham, I think he's going to be a special player. But however, I do think Will Johnson would be by far my first guy because he can make an impact right away. He has, good size. Hopefully he can do, have an impact similar to what Surtain had, for the Broncos. Very athletic, very cerebral, well coached. Because actually he was coached by the Chargers defense coordinator, Jesse Minter. He had some years with him. So he's a well coached guy. And even this year he was coached with Wink Martindale, which is a good defensive mind as well. So I think he'll be able to hit the ground running. So if it's up to me, I think I'll go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of people
like
saying
the Quinion Mitchell impact. That'd be good right there.
Hey, you got him.
Just waiting to mention that name. That's what he was waiting.
Man.
Real quick, big shot, Daniel Kim. I appreciate you coming through the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up.
Daniel Kim, what up, man?
Yeah, the king of mods.
Let's see. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna got a lot of people in the building saying who they want to pick, but here's my thing: is Tennessee. Tennessee is now going to be a wild card number one. They could go quarterback. They could go quarterback, or they possibly go
quarterback.
I think they will.
Yeah.
But the number one guy that I am eyeballing right now, it's between the two, right? It's between Victoria McMillan out of Arizona. If you can add him with Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, even if we stick with Trey Tucker or possibly get another speedster, those are weapons for days. You finally have a 50-50 guy. You have an explosive receiver that you have to track on top because he's got the speed to burn you if he wants to. But then on the flip side, it's what Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU. That kid just looks like an absolute stud. And Severe, I think you kind of mentioned it. You maybe put DJ Glaze down at guard.
Yeah.
You bump him down.
Yeah.
And
it's not a bad idea.
I am all for. I am a build the trenches type of guy. That's who I am, because then you kill two birds with one stone. You protect your hottest commodity, which is your quarterback. You allow any quarterback to come in and kind of have just the time to potentially, pick apart a defense. And then you could put almost any running back behind there and create some openings. And so you kind of kill two birds with one stone by investing and revamping that offensive line. And with what we have, if you could have Colton Miller on the left, it would be potentially Jordan Meredith, maybe on next to him, JPJ at center, DJ Glaze at guard, and now Will Campbell.
Yeah, now you got something. You got something.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. You know what I'm saying? So those are kind of the two guys that I'm looking at. Ernest, you're saying Will Campbell. I'm gonna bring these up again a little bit. San Antonio drafted. He ain't gonna get drafted third, but I also know he ain't dropping to the third. But I'm just saying that's how high I am on him. Plenty good running backs later. You're right. Juju Black,
with McMillan though. I know you guys are kind of high on him, and he's good, but he kind of reminds me of which I mean it's still a good comp, but he's almost like a Plaxico Burress, which Plax had some good years, but it's like I don't know, he's kind of stiff, man. Like I think he'll win a lot of 50-50s, and I know he has speed, but I don't know, man. I gotta watch more of him, but he's I don't know. I don't know if I could take him this high, honestly.
I'm watching his game film again. I haven't watched a ton of it. And I gotta break down now that our season's over. I'm gonna start really breaking down film. But
Mike Evans.
I almost think I don't know if he's necessarily. I actually think he's a more athletic Mike Evans. He's a very athletic kid.
Super athletic.
He's a very athletic kid. You see some of the cuts that he makes after the ball's in his hand. Being 6'5", 6'6", I think he can move with the ball in his hands. I just think he's explosive.
I gotta watch him more closely. I mean, he seems to get open quite a bit because a lot of his catches are like you just see him and he just like by himself. Which I don't know how that happens. As big as he is, but I don't know, man. I definitely don't see Mike Evans in him. Like I said, like maybe to me his ceiling is like a Plaxico, which I mean, Plesko, he had some good years, but I just man, number 6 though. I don't know.
Or Brian Thomas Jr. I can see that.
Brian
Tall,
Thomas.
tall,
Yeah.
athletic kid, speed, a lot of straight line speed, athleticism. I mean, it's like we see with Brian Thomas. I mean, and
Yeah, he balling. He's balling.
He bought out, man.
Yeah.
So
maybe, man. I just don't see it yet. But I could see the talent in him. I guess I just don't see like that Mike Evans-esque to me.
Well, the good thing is I'm going to do my best to get some film. So in the off season,
break it down. Make me a believer, man. Make me a believer.
Just we're going to break this thing down a little bit. We're going to have fun with it in the off season. So make sure you guys stick around, turn those notifications. Once again, guys, everybody in the building, make sure you guys hit up Protect the Show podcast up above me. I got the Severe Raider down below. I'm Real Talk Raider Nation, 805 Raider. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe wherever you're at. Appreciate everybody coming up in the building. Raider Pete, you got Real Talk. See Shadur getting picked round 2. I think that's probably where I would put him if I were to project where I think he deserves to be picked. But
in Cleveland too,
someone's going to come up and get him early. Does that project we go best available at D at pick 6? Is there a generational talent on D at number 6? I don't know if there's a generational talent on the defensive side. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to be dead honest. But I am big on the Arizona receiver as well as the offensive lineman Campbell at LSU. So
yeah.
Do you guys see a generational talent potentially on the defensive side?
Guys. Yeah, the 2 Michigan guys I think will be the closest. Mason Graham or Will Johnson. I mean, there's some people that are super high on Abdul Carter. I'm not as high on Abdul Carter, but
he's that edge rusher out of Penn State, right?
Out of Penn, yeah. A lot of people think he's going to be Micah 2.0.
No, he's not that.
But no, I don't know. But those are like it's 2.5, I guess.
Yeah. And so, but we sit at 6, and that's what's going to be tough. Real quick, Steve, man, I appreciate the super chat again. What are y'all thoughts on Chip Kelly and Will Howard for being together for one season? The way that he's played, Will seems like a good system quarterback. Chris, what's your thoughts, man? I know you're a Michigan guy, but you've seen a lot of Ohio State. What's your thoughts?
So after around Thanksgiving this year, when Ohio State played Michigan, all of my friends, every last one of them, was screaming for Chip Kelly to be fired. Just the way that they handled the big game against us. However, something lit a fire under them. What I'm seeing in the playoffs from the Buckeyes, Chip is showing his ass. He's doing his thing. Will Howard is playing up to his potential. I don't think that I would want. I mean, I know I don't want Chip, calling plays for us at the Raiders. So I'm not sure if that's what he was getting to. Will Howard, he has some talent, but I think he'll just kind of be, one of those, Buckeye type quarterbacks, because he has so much weapons around him. He literally probably has, who's that Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be, that dude's going to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. That dude's
a freshman too.
Yeah, and even Abuka, he's good too. So I think Howard and he has 2 dog running backs behind him. Like, he's just surrounded by a whole bunch of talent. You take some of that stuff away and put it on his shoulders, I think will struggle a little bit. That's just what I've seen.
I got you. Severe, you got any on that?
Yeah, man. Chip Kelly was, I'm a UCLA guy. Chip Kelly was our offensive coordinator was a head coach for a long time. And in terms of drawing up an offense and calling plays, like Chip can do that. And that's all he wants to do. He's a guy. So if you get him with somebody that's willing to follow his system and do what he says to do, they're going to look good. Like our quarterback, this year was with our team last year. And he had some games where he put up some crazy numbers. And this year he looked like a completely different player. And part of that is Chip Kelly. And what Chip Kelly does do and that people kind of underestimate is that Chip Kelly he's crazy in the run game. Like he will have your run game doing like on point,
Mhm.
and then you throw that on top of tempo. He
Yeah,
just
I do
does.
like the tempo.
Yeah, he wears you down. So so like that's why his teams are conditioned, and that's why like later on in the year they're usually playing better because when other teams are starting to wear down, they're so conditioned that that they're used to it. So I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Will Howard. I know he's a big guy. I know for that not people are saying for being a big guy, he really doesn't have that strong of an arm. So I have to watch more of him. But I know what Chip Kelly can do for a quarterback. We've seen it time and time again. Jeremiah Masoli was one of the best quarterbacks in college for a time. Then he had Mariota. Then he had the other kid. I forgot his name. The other Oregon quarterback. He's able to turn these guys into very productive players. So I mean, I don't know if that's more Chip Kelly or if that's more Will Howard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't watch enough of him to have an opinion just yet. So appreciate you guys throwing that out there. Brian Rodriguez in the building. I appreciate you saying Will has short arms. I'll definitely. I'm gonna do more research. And so let's see real quick. Burke Rader in the building. Arizona State running back in the draft. The guy's a dog, man. That guy wants the ball, So we'll definitely, I will definitely do more research watching him. I watched a couple of his games, but I'm definitely doing more research watching him, just doing my due diligence on whether or not I definitely want a player. And so that Raider fan, Bill, I appreciate you coming through. Assassin's Creed, man, always pulling up. Appreciate you in the building. Raider, Dank Vader in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. Raider Lake Show, always good seeing you. Devin Johnson in the building, unseen heard as well. Raider G, appreciate you. And Easy Box, I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
It's funny because is this the move? Raider G just said it. Hire Vrabel, but will Vrabel now go to the Patriots? Do you think that's the move? If they pulled the trigger real quick. The Patriots did on Gerard Merrill. Do you guys think that might be the move for the Patriots?
I mean, it makes sense. There. I think Kraft will give him a bag for sure. I originally saw Vrabel want. I mean, I could see him going to Ohio State, but if Ohio State mess around and win the Natty, then they'll probably keep
Ryan Day.
Yeah, Ryan Day around. But yeah, honestly, if I'm Vrabel, if I know I'm the top coaching candidate, I want to go somewhere that has a quarterback. So I would definitely go to the Patriots if I was him.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he would be royalty there. The fans would love him. He'd be royalty.
Yeah.
I would. I'm with you. Justin Brown, appreciate you pulling up. And so with that being said, let's see, Reggie, you was just talking about some head coaches, and that's going to be, we're at number 6, right? We talked a little bit about draft position. Here's the question. And Chad, I know some of you guys have already thrown it out there. It's the first thing everybody wants to talk about. But do you guys think AP has coached his last game in the silver and black? Chat, let us know. Hit that hashtag Raiders first so I see it and I can pull it up. But that's going to be next on the list. And so let me kind of go back to the big screen. And man, is this AP's last game? Chris, what's your thoughts on it?
I think so. Unfortunately, I think it is. I've always been a big fan of AP. Still am. I just think ultimately it may be a little over his head. Because some of the adjustments weren't made. Some of the mistakes that he had early on. I didn't see too many adjustments. Did he have the best situation? No. Do I want him to retain the position? I would say yeah overall, but I really don't think he will. I just think that there wasn't enough adjustments that were made to show that he can make changes on the run and on the go.
Yeah, I definitely think experience has played a big role in my opinion, because I don't think with the history that we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but I don't think with the history that we have, we have the time to wait. I'm not saying that AP might be a good head coach years down the road, but but I think we just don't have the time to wait for him to figure it out, unfortunately. So that's definitely one knock that I have on AP. Severe, what's your thoughts so far?
Yeah, man. I'm a guy that I was not an advocate to hire AP in the first place, but I said if you do hire him, like you have like knowing what we know about him as a guy that doesn't have experience, was never a coordinator, and we saw some of his game management issues rear their ugly head last year in his interim stint. Like if you're gonna hire him, you need to be able to be prepared to stick with him through these growing pains. And I don't think Mark is going to be willing to do that, especially now that Tom Brady's in the building. We have Tom Telesco in here as GM, who didn't hire him at all. So I think he has coached his last game as a Raider, which is unfortunate. I would like to see us actually stick with the coach for once.
Me too. Me too.
Like we keep doing the same thing, and I know people will point to the Patriots and say, you know what, hey, the Patriots did it. They fired Jerry Mayo after a year, but they had their last coach they had for 20-something years. So like that's
Right.
it's different situation. So that they can afford to kind of to do that. We can't. We've been doing the same thing over and over, and guess what? It has not worked. It has not worked. And the one time we thought we were in the precipice of actually turning things around and building a winning team, it was because guess what? We actually stuck with the coach.
Yeah.
It's because we stuck with Gruden for the multiple losing seasons. And then we finally had a winning season. And then we had a season where obviously it wasn't there toward the end of it, but we went to the playoffs. So, learn from that. Like learn from those mistakes and learn from those successes. Like we don't seem to be doing either of those.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I got a comment on that, but right away you're saying AP's biggest mistake with the OC. The only thing I would say is you got to remember he did want Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
There was a contract on the table for him. He walked away from it, and I think once he walked away, then AP has to go back to the drawing board, find an offensive coordinator, and he ended up with Luke Getsy because all the other coordinators kind of walked off and signed with their teams. And so now he's kind of got I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but I mean, he just wasn't, now you don't have,
it wasn't.
You don't have just all these now offensive coordinators to choose from because you thought you locked in your guy. And so you got to give AP credit for wanting Cliff Kingsbury. Unfortunately, just the contracts didn't line up, and that's not on AP.
And plus, I mean, we got to remember, and honestly, the only reason that Getsy may have got hired was because of his relationship with Devontae. Because maybe at that point they wanted to still make Devontae happy as well. Because I don't think that Getsy was high on the list at all. Honestly, I just can't see it.
Yeah, definitely not the number 1, number 2, or even number 3 pick, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and here's my thing about AP is that I understand you want consistency. I understand that you don't want to go through this coaching carousel where you're constantly getting rid of coaches. But I would only say that if AP had the history of being a coach in the league to warrant trying to trust the process, right? He's only been in the league for two years.
Yeah.
2.5 years. He doesn't have the history that some of these other comparisons that everybody's throwing out, like Dan Campbell. You don't have that. He doesn't. The mistakes that you're seeing, I think, is going to take not just 1 or 2 years to kind of work himself out of. He is going to have to learn this all from scratch, and I just don't think we have the time to wait. And if the only reason why I would move off on him is if you had an opportunity to upgrade.
Yeah.
If you could upgrade, then upgrade, and I'm okay with moving off because AP was an emotional hire. That's what he was. You're not hiring him because of his track record. There's no track record to hire off of.
True.
So you're not going to sit there and go, well, wait a second. No, he's had success here. He's done this. He's done that. He's done nothing except gain the respect of a locker room last season and the fan base. The fan base was head over heels over him. And so that's the only reason why I'd be okay with moving on from him is if you can upgrade, because there's no process to trust in AP. So that's kind of my opinion on it as it stands right now. If we were to give him another shot, I'd be okay with it, only because of the injuries and all that stuff that's been tough to work through. No coach could find success with the injuries that we occurred this entire season. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
And that is the big question is, and just saw this, but can you, but you can't upgrade. That remains to be seen. I'm with you. 100%. You know, the question is now that we sit at number 6, and if we don't have a shot at a certain player, whether it be quarterback, is there going to be an upgrade to a coach that wants to come and coach with us?
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Everybody wants Ben Johnson. I don't know if this is the most desirable spot for Ben Johnson to come to.
It's not at all.
Not without a quarterback. I mean, it's
you have to give Ben Johnson $15 million a year for him to want to come here, and even then he might be like, "I'm cool because y'all can give me this $15 million contract. Y'all can still fire me next year. That's what
exactly, and that's it.
That's your MO. They got y'all give like they get Josh McDaniels like a 6-year deal and fired him a year and a half into it. So it's like it's one of the situations like especially with Antonio Pierce. It's like you bought a house, you know, on the cheap because it was in a great neighborhood, but it was a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
So you're like, but then like, you know, you move into it and you're like, oh damn, well, this house don't got no AC, and like, well, you knew this.
Right, you knew this. Yeah.
You understood it was a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
You were going to have to put some resources and some time into getting it to where you wanted it. But now you're living in the house and you're like, man, this house it's not that nice. Well, no, it's not that nice because you knew that already. That's part of the reason why you bought it, because
you got it for cheap.
You know what? I can get it on the cheap and I can build it up.
I can fix it up.
Get so much value out of this house because everything else is there in a great neighborhood, good school districts. You know, the comps in the area. Were great. Oh my goodness, I'm getting this house for this. Oh, because it has this. Okay, well, you know what? I can deal with that. I can deal with that because I'm going to put the necessary time into it and the necessary money into it to make sure that I get it to where I want. That way, this full potential can be realized. But now that you're living there and you don't like the living there right now, now you totally abandon the future that you saw in the house, because the now is not what you want it to be. But you have to understand that the now wasn't going to be what you wanted it to be when you first bought it. So that's why I just don't understand the lie. If you were going to just fire AP after 1 year, then there was no point in hiring him in the first place.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so we do have. So we're talking about AP, and look, the only reason why, if there was a chance, Ben Johnson did want to come over, I do like the combination. And again, we've talked about this in the past. Is a lot of the successful teams are marrying their offensive coordinator, making them head coaches, and now they get their quarterback and they're finding success and continued success in the long term. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Sean McVay now has Stafford, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy. You could even now put what's his face, Kevin O'Connell. He found Sam Darnold. Obviously, JJ McCarthy went down, but they're finding success. And they could potentially find continued success because now you got your offensive-minded head coach that has now found his quarterback or has a quarterback, and now you can keep rolling. You know, my biggest question with Dan Campbell is, when Ben Johnson's gone, is he going to be able to find another offensive coordinator fill his shoes? And now Jared Goff is now going to have to learn a brand new offensive system, a brand new offensive scheme, and is that going to marry well and continue to find success? You know, and if you do, let's say you find success for 1, maybe 2 years. Now that offensive coordinator is possibly going to be the next candidate for a head coaching position, and now you lose an offensive coordinator, and now you're going to wrap your quarterback to another offensive system, which is never good to continue to change offensive systems on quarterbacks. And so that's the only reason why I'd be okay with moving on with a proven good offensive coordinator. So that's just My opinion on that.
You know, a random thought that I was thinking, and I don't know if it'll happen, but I keep hearing a lot of chatter about the Dolphins and them. I think their GM, I think, may step down or whatever. What are they going to do with Mike McDaniel? If he somehow I mean, because he, in a way, if you think about it, he's underachieved. I mean, I think he spiked for a while, but then he couldn't win big games. And I think his record against I think winning organizations is bad. But would you guys want to see someone like a Mike McDaniels under our with us as a head coach? I wouldn't mind it, honestly. With the right quarterback.
I wouldn't mind it. Or Frank Smith. I know he's not the play caller there. He's our former tight ends coach. I think he's the offensive coordinator with the Miami Dolphins. So he's familiar with the organization. I know tight end room loved him when he was here. I wouldn't mind either one of those guys. And Frank Smith is a guy I think Farrell brought him up. When we were looking into coaches last year as a guy he was interested in. Of course, we didn't go with him.
As a head coach or
he's the offensive coordinator over there right now. Well, if they relieve,
but we know he ain't calling nothing though.
He ain't calling nothing. Yeah. But Mike McDaniel wasn't calling nothing in San Fran.
No, he wasn't. That's why it was a very interesting, honestly, move. I thought by Miami when they did it.
But you can tell he's like a whiz kid. He's like a little.
He is.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind it.
Football nerd.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
He's a nerd. But
I don't know if I wouldn't mind it because I'll tell you, you can tell that offense can roll. I think Tua is just not a very good quarterback.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So I think that offense can roll. But
stop laughing, Samir. It's a new year. It's a new year, so
I can tell Chris is trying so hard. It's funny.
I ain't responding to somebody that can't spell. Go ahead.
But I don't think I wouldn't mind it because I do think that offense can roll. He's very creative. It's tough because what there was a comment I think I just pulled up. MEZ Box, you're saying I'm tired of the media making this Ben Johnson guy the golden boy. I mean, look, everything lines up for him to potentially be the next big guy in the coaching cycle. You can't doubt it. And everything's a shot kind of in the dark a little bit. You never know how he's going to turn out as a true head coach. There's so many good offensive coordinators that can't be head coaches.
Yeah.
So you just hope that our front office does their due diligence to make the right decision. We don't have the history of it happening, but you just hope they do, at the end of the day. But as we kind of talk about head coaches and stuff, I am seeing some comments and we'll talk real quick on it. Lakeshore Raider, you're saying Tom Telesco can go. That's what I see some people making these comments that they want Tom Telesco gone as well. It's not just on this chat, but in others. Chris, I'll throw it to you first, man. What's your thoughts on Tom Telesco?
No, I'm still believing in Tom. Like I said, after he's probably given us the best draft we've had in a long time. And again, I know people don't like how conservative he is, but at the end of the day, I think he can build the right team. Do I trust him picking the right coach? No. But as far as like building the team, I got faith in him. So I have no reason to show him the door, to be honest. So I'm rocking with Tom.
Severe, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I think this was a great draft. Even though like the first two picks were kind of, Brock Bowers, best player available. JPJ was a guy that should have been a first round pick that happened to fall. Those are kind of obvious picks, but several other GMs didn't pick those guys. So it's not his fault that other people passed on him. He was a beneficiary of them. Not selecting those guys. I think he got a real good player and Glaze, a guy that can be a potential starter for us in the future, whether that be at right tackle or at guard. So I think he did his job this draft. we'll kind of see what he does this next draft. If he's going to be involved in the hiring of head coaches, that's kind of been his kryptonite in the past. So we'll see how he does there if we end up moving on from AP. But for the time being, I think he's earned his keep.
I'm with you. And Steve, man, I appreciate the super chat again. You're saying unless Frank Smith was eating hot Cheetos and not paying attention, I would be happy to have him call plays. He did develop Waller too.
Good point.
Yeah.
Point.
No, very good point. He did develop Waller. And Waller, I mean, he broke out with us without question. You know,
true. That's a good point.
But we also drove him to his rap career as well. So
exactly.
Turf toe.
Turf toe. I don't know how you can't be good with Tom Telesco. I mean, Chris, to your point, right? I mean, he nailed this draft for the most part. Our top 3 picks were on point, did a very good job. A lot of us were skeptical on that first pick only because I think we had more needs, but he went and got DJ Glaze. I knew I was skeptical on the DJ Glaze pick because I thought that he was more of a guard than a tackle. But he's found success. And so I know that there's been some question marks in the back half of the draft. I know some skepticism on Tom Telesco is that he can find yourself some damn good starters, but the depth of his rosters are definitely have some question marks. But as it stands right now, we nailed last year's draft, and we haven't seen that in a very long time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I want to see him continue to kind of build through the draft. That's why I don't want to trade away any picks. A lot of question marks on hiring our head coach, but at the same time, I'm really curious as to was he the top voice in hiring the coaches last year with that Spanos family over at the Chargers. I mean, those guys, they look like they run the ship a little bit.
Yeah, they're dictators. Yeah.
So, and look, Tom Telesco didn't hire AP. And that's the other part that I do have some, not issues, but concerns with is there should be a true chain of command. AP was already there before Tom Telesco. So does AP truly answer to Tom Telesco? I want a head coach that answers to the GM.
The GM. Yep. That's how it should be.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we've gone wrong in the last two head coaching cycles where John Gruden did not answer to Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock answered to John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, and Ziegler.
Yeah,
right?
Same thing.
Josh McDaniels brought in Ziegler. And so Josh McDaniels got to basically pull the cards, run the ship, the whole 9. We got to flip that. We got to have a head coach that answers to the GM, point blank, period. And so, for me, I got to keep rolling with Tom Telesco. I want to see him continue to build, see what he can come up with. As long as he can erase one pick last year, Severe's boy, Tommy Eichenberg, then we'll be okay. Then we'll be all right.
Tommy gonna be a beast. Tommy gonna be he is gonna
be a beast at Starbucks, man. He gonna be a player of the month. I ain't never seen a barista that fast.
So you're saying any GM can pick the best player available. You're right, but there's a lot of GMs that don't pick the best player available.
Yeah. Right? I think that's what he's saying. I think
I don't think that's true though. I don't think I think it's hard sometimes to pick the best player available. You gotta be real disciplined. Because a lot of times, you look at certain positions that you want. You get some, like, honestly, that took a lot of discipline to get Brock Bowers. It took a lot. I know a lot of us wanted something else. They wanted Fuaga and a lot of other. I think it took a hell of, because when you set your board, like your board's set, and like for you to really go with that instead of going with someone that we thought could have just, like Fuaga, who we know we needed. I commend him for that. I don't think it's as easy as what people say.
It's not, because there's a lot of GMs that don't do it. Right? There's a lot of GMs that bypass them. And a lot of teams did.
We did it last year, and when we did it the year when we took Byron Young over Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt was the highest guy on our board at the time. We took Byron Young for
position. Yeah, exactly.
No,
that's how you end up with the Damon Arnett. Because you're like, oh, we have to have a corner, so let's get the third best corner on the board instead of the best player available.
Yeah.
So here's my thing is, and I'll go back because like sure you kind of put it up there. You're saying Telesco sucks. Any GM can pick best player available. The only thing that I will say to it is, look, if Tom Telesco truly knows he has time, then that's the right move for him. He got a generational talent, a guy that everybody was saying that he was going to be the best, potentially the best player coming out of this draft, that draft last year, just with the most upside. Because there's that one guy, I think it was the year before, was who's that kid at the running back out of Atlanta? Bijan Robinson. Everybody said that he was a generational talent that was a can't miss prospect. Everybody said Brock Bowers was that can't miss prospect. So I think if he knew he has time, you get that guy knowing that you're going to have a couple more years to build out this roster. So, and Chris, to your point, then it does take discipline.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
100%. There was a question talking about quarterbacks. Edgar, I appreciate you coming up. Jackson Dart in later rounds, your thoughts. If we don't get a quarterback early, I'd take him.
Yeah.
I'd take Jackson Dart. Severe, I know you're high on Jackson Dart as well. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I've been on that train for a while, man. I just think he has, a lot of what you look for in a quarterback. His biggest weakness is that when you pressure him, when you start to hit him a lot, that affects him. But that's what quarterback doesn't that affect? That's the whole point of why teams want to put pressure and want to get hits on quarterbacks is because they know it affects them. So I think that's his biggest knock. But I think he has the intangibles. I think he has enough arm strength to make the throws. I think he's pretty accurate. He can make throws at all levels of the field. He's athletic enough to hurt you with his legs, and he's willing to do so. And he just has the charisma that you want from a guy in that position. And I know we don't talk enough about that, but that is important. That is important because when the chips are down and the game is on the line and things are getting tough, or you need to drive in a 2-minute drill, you need to be able to have your team look at you, and they look at you as somebody like, what, this guy's going to get it done. We heard what the Commanders said about Jaden Daniels this year. That guy is unflappable. No matter what situation it is, he's unflappable. Everybody believes he's going to make it happen. And that's what we lack. Nobody's looking at Aiden O'Connell saying, "Oh, this Aiden O'Connell's about to get it done for." Nobody says. Nobody's saying that. So I just think that he has all of those things. And the main knock against him is that he really didn't play in a pro style system. So there may be some growing pains, transitioning from the offense he ran with Lane Kiffin to a more pro style system. But teams are already doing a lot of that stuff regardless. They're already doing a lot of stuff out of shotgun. That's so you can work that into what you're doing in the league and have success. So I just think that I think he's a guy, especially in the second and third round. I wouldn't mind taking a shot in him.
Yeah, and J Dog, okay. I mean, you're allowed to slip up or two. I think there was some comments about people saying Josh Jacobs leaving and not re-signing him. I do think that, Chris, I'll hand it off to you for a second because I know you like to talk about Josh Jacobs a little bit. But I think, I think Tom Telesco tried to throw what he could at Josh Jacobs, and at the end of the day, I think Josh Jacobs just didn't want to be here. I do think that's partially what the issue was. But with Minshew, yeah, maybe not the best decision to bring in Minshew. So I will knock him for that 100%. So, but Chris, what's your thoughts on the Josh Jacobs situation? Let everybody know.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think, Josh felt disrespected. And I don't think it was just this time. I mean, I think it probably started with McDaniels, like that year before. They had him out there playing in the Pro Bowl, or not the Pro Bowl, but the Hall of Fame game, and little stuff like that. They told him, hey, this is a prove it year, you got to prove it. He went out there and proved it, and I just think he felt disrespected. So I do feel that we should have did a better job of making sure he wanted to come back, because I think he wanted to, but he also knew his worth as well. But then he also, like you was saying, he understood that we're not a winning organization. So it's like, you guys want me to take a hometown discount and for us to lose too? It just didn't make sense for him. So, but that's one water under the bridge. I'm not tripping on that. But free agency, I think he did well. Some people, hindsight's 2020. Some people think that what's his name? What's the DT we got?
Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, Wilkins. Some people think we overpaid for him. At the end of the day, people got to remember, we're not a good team. We have to overpay for free agents to come play for us. I mean, we're not going to get no discounts, and I think people gotta remember that. So, people think just because he got hurt, oh, that was such a bad free agent move. At the time, we all loved it, so we can't renege and go back now. So that's kind of where I'm at. For me, I don't like how he handled the quarterback situation, because again, Minshew wasn't my first guy. I wanted to get Russ for the league minimum and rock out there, but he decided to go forward with Minshew. So that was definitely a mistake. But I'm not tripping on Tom yet, man. He's year one, I'm okay. He's just gonna have to continue to show that he can make some good moves in the draft. But if he can't do that, then I'm done.
What is it?
Just keep. So, chat, let me know, because I know there's a bunch of side discussions going on. Hit the hashtag Raiders if you're addressing, because there's a lot of side chat, and I'm trying to keep up. So I want to bring up the comments as they relate to kind of what we're talking about. But here's the other thing to just take into consideration, right? As a running back, you want to make sure that you're going to go to an organization or side with the organization where you're going to get the best chance of success. And I don't think being here with the plans of the quarterback, one thing that you have to take into consideration, and the money was very close, but does Josh Jacobs want to stay with our organization, knowing that he probably didn't have much trust in the success of our team this year, knowing that he's going to face a loaded box every single game? He's going to face an 8-man box, and they're going to basically crowd him all day, every day, and he's going to struggle to walk after the end of the season, or go to Green Bay with a quarterback, with receiver threats, where he's probably going to face a light box majority of the time.
Exactly.
He's looking out for himself. And so that's part of, I guess, the evaluation I'm guessing that he had when he wanted to make his decision. And so I just don't think he agreed with the path that we wanted to take. And I think going to Green Bay, he just knew that he was going to have a chance at a lot more success. And look at what he did.
And that's why we have to be careful with how we move forward with Max Crosby. And I think people, he's really kind of doubling down on what Myles Garrett told the Browns, so he's going to want to know what the plan is. Because Max is going to have a lot of leverage, especially when it comes time to pay him. And, if he, I don't think he'll sit out or anything like that, but Max is tired of losing as well. So they're going to have to put a plan on place, something that he's going to have to agree with, or he could become an issue, when the time comes.
Yeah. So, Ryan, appreciate you. We actually went through thoughts on best player available, that we actually went through the draft, and just kind of where we sit at number 6. So we definitely went through real quick. I'm definitely eyeballing the AZ, the Arizona receiver McMillan at number 6, or potentially offensive tackle, the LSU kid Campbell. I definitely like to see that. Potentially at 6, but we'll kind of see how it plays out. But make sure you stick with us, because we are going to break down film of the college prospects as we kind of go through in the off season. But Dominic 5, man, I had your question highlighted before, but we're going to bring it up. Can each of you guys tell me your plan for the quarterback position? Severe, you want to go first?
Yeah, man. I think you have to identify one in the later rounds. You're essentially going to be out of reach for either of those guys, either the top guys in this draft, whether that be Shador or Cam. I know you're not high on Shador. I don't believe either one of them would drop. And I'm not, this is not the draft to trade up for a guy. Like last year, I screamed from the rooftops. You know what? Early I said Jaden, and then I knew Jaden was out of reach. I said Penix, and then Nobody wanted Penix. They thought Aiden O'Connell would beat Penix in the competition. Like really, he couldn't beat Gardner Minshew. But I digress. I digress. So this year is not the year to do it. This is not the year to draft to trade up to draft a guy unless you're just absolutely sold on him. And I don't think Telesco will be absolutely sold on either one of these guys. So you just got to identify one in the later rounds. You just at this point, you got to stick to your board. Right? You got to stick to your board. And maybe you luck up and get a guy in the later rounds, or you're able to land a guy in free agency. But it's a tough road to hoe this year, man. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a tough road to hoe. I'm big on. I like Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart in the later rounds. If you can get him, hopefully like in the second or the third, I'll love that. I have a feeling that Telesco's going to like a guy like Curtis Rourke. I wouldn't be surprised if we go after him. I'm not really that big on him. I know there are people out there that are. Right. Dante from East Coast Gridiron is huge. Is huge on Rourke. I think that's his QB1. So I wouldn't be surprised if we take a flyer on a guy like that. But in terms of the first two guys, yeah, we have no shot at those guys.
I'm with you, Chris. What's your thoughts on the quarterback situation?
Yeah, so just my first initial thought, of course, if someone like a Cam Ward falls, absolutely jump all over that. However, I don't think that's going to happen. But it's hard to kind of answer that question because I need to know who the offensive coordinator is going to be or who the play caller is going to be. Because, then it can let me understand kind of what type of quarterback is best for that system. And then also, if we have to dip into the free agency, because sometimes you have like the the situations like Sam Darnold where you can get a veteran that just needs a new home that can kind of revive their career. So maybe if we have a play caller that maybe there's a veteran out there that we can kind of revive. But the thing is, I'm kind of tired of that, because that's the thing we tried with Jimmy G, and that's what we tried with Minshew. So I want to go get my guy, but I don't think we'll be able to get it this year. So let's figure out who our play caller is going to be and try to get someone that can best play under that system, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah,
we're not in a good position for the quarterback, and that's why I was so big on the strategic substitutions, because those opportunities don't come around too often. If we would have did things the way that a lot of us wanted to do, then we would be in a position right now saying we can guarantee get at least one of the guys that a lot of us wanted to get. But now
and here's my thing, right? And this is where we kind of go back. We sit at number 6. In number 6, you're now out of a reach of that top quarterback, possibly the top guy at the position that you're targeting, whether it be receiver, offensive tackle, maybe even a cornerback, right? And so here's the thing is, you could even be sitting at number 1, number 2, and now we're not there because of the Jags win, because the Saints win. We're not there. And we could have either picked somebody there and got the top player at the position, pick of our litter. We're not sitting there and now having to figure out our board and who's going to be available. We could even trade it back. We could trade it back to number 5, number 6, and got an additional first-round draft pick.
Got a king's ransom. Yep.
Because there's going to be someone that wants Cam Ward. There might be a team that's going to want to jump up and get Shedeur Sanders. There could be a team that wants to jump up and get their top offensive tackle. Who knows? But you at least sit in a position to where you could actually acquire 1 or 2 additional first-round draft picks. I would much rather get 1 or 2 more first-round draft picks than brag that we beat the Jags or the Saints.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
great. Like,
exactly.
I'm so excited we beat the Jags and the Saints because it did absolutely nothing for us except for drop us. Because you can sit there and say, oh, well, what does this teach this roster? We got almost half of our roster is
going to be gone.
Agents.
Right.
They're free agents. They're walking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not bringing everybody back. And so there's going to be a good majority of this roster that's not going to be on this roster next year. And so trying to corral this locker room over a win over the Jags and the Saints, look, as a fan, I can have that opinion. That's fine. Maybe as a head coach, difference of opinion. As a head coach, as AP,
sure.
you want to win.
Yeah, you want to win for sure.
You want to win. There's no such thing as losing. So that's my thing. Is I would much rather be in the position at number 1, number 2, and be able to trade that away or pick the top player at their position that could help this football team. So, but my opinion on quarterback, I'll take Cam Ward if he drops. I'm not going to trade up for a quarterback whatsoever. But if Cam Ward drops, that's my guy. I'll take him. If Cam Ward doesn't drop, then I do like Jackson Dart. There's a couple things that I have concerns of, but that's why he's not, a first or second guy. The guy I did like was Drew Aller. I think people are saying it remains to be seen on whether or not he's actually. I know he declared or that he just said he's going to come back.
I think, yeah.
But some people are saying that he still could declare for the draft. I know it's always open ended, but until the draft actually comes up.
When's the deadline?
I don't know when the deadline is.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, but I like Jackson Dart, but it wouldn't be until probably second round. I don't know exactly where he's projected at this point, to be honest. And so, but Jackson Dart would be a guy that I'd be okay with. He's mobile. He's got a good arm. He can make any throw. He's shown that he can kind of run multiple systems, which is good. The only thing that I do have a little bit of concern is just his short to mid-range accuracy. His ball placement isn't as good as I'd like to see it, but sometimes you can correct that sometimes just with working on mechanics a little bit. But again, definitely want to see more film. Want to make sure that make sure you guys stick with us because we're definitely going to break down film as we move forward. And so
he's a guy that I think can go up the draft boards like in the Senior Bowl and stuff like that. Like some of those games, like the practice, the week of the practice of the Senior Bowl. And even the combine, even though I'm not big on the combine, but I can see him being a guy that can show his athleticism and kind of show his arm. He might be a guy that kind of goes up the charts, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Cyclops, I do think this is actually a weak draft class, quarterback class. You look at last year compared to this year, very weak. Noah Calderon, appreciate you coming up. Cam's not dropping. I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. Bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, Des Stanford, appreciate you thoughts on trading Jim McCarthy. We talked about that just a little bit earlier in the show. So, but I appreciate the question. My simple question answer is no, but once we're done, you can definitely go back.
Yeah, I think it's no for all of us. Yeah.
In the live, you can definitely check out how we kind of break that thing down. DZ, you're saying grab Gentry at 6. I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
You can't do it either. You can't do it either.
I can't get a running back that early. I just think we have
especially not in this class. And this class is so deep at running back. They're going to be like starters in the 3rd round. You can get. They'll be like day 1 starters for you. I'm not doing it this year.
So, and it goes back to if we do potentially get that. Was it Will Campbell, the tackle out of LSU? You pick that kid up, you bump DJ Glaze down. Yeah. Now you kill 2 birds. You protect your quarterback, and you can create running lanes and get a running back later.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I would I'm again. That's just because I'm a build the trenches type of guy. Yeah. So
no, I'm with you.
Yeah. No, I mean that's kind of looking at everything. We touched on the box score, the stats for this game. Again, we lose 20-34 to the Chargers. We end the season like we started. I lost the Chargers, unfortunately. We went over our draft position, kind of what we want to see. If you guys did miss it, we apologize. But at the end of the day, Wes is saying February 7th is the deadline to declare the draft. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
And so, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason. We're all kind of checking our phones to see what's going to happen with Antonio Pierce. We talked about our opinion on Antonio Pierce. If you did miss it, definitely head back to the when the live hits YouTube. But definitely go back and check that out because we definitely give you our opinion. But the one thing I do want to say is also Big ups, John Fallon in the building. I appreciate you, man. Haven't seen you in a minute. Appreciate you pulling through. One thing I want to say is the season's done. We're going the off season, but I definitely appreciate everybody that's pulled up to our post game lives, as well as, we're going to have one last film breakdown. We're going to break down this game film on Tuesday night. Remember, I understand the season didn't work out the way we wanted it to, but at the end of the day, you can still review film and see what players we want to build on, continue with, or players that just got to go, and we all say it, film don't lie. And so we definitely review it. We review 30, 40 clips every single time. And so it's definitely good, but definitely keep rolling with us in the offseason. We're going to do college draft projections. We're going to break down some film on some of the college prospects. I'm going to look for those films. We're definitely going to hit you with any news and rumors that go on, as well as when the draft does go down, we're definitely going to hit you guys with it. But we definitely appreciate all you guys that have been rolling with us kind of later half the season with all the lives that we do. Chris, man, any final thoughts before we get out of here? Anything you want to say to the chat and just say what's up to the people?
Yeah, man. Salute to everybody, man, in the chat. And one thing I did kind of want to talk about, because I saw people in the chat talking about trading for Milton. Again, I just like I was telling people, he showed some good flashes today. But again, I almost look at that as a preseason game, because there was a lot of second and third string people out there. Milton, I do not think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I think he'll always kind of be a backup. He may be a guy that can back up another mobile quarterback just in case they go down, whether like a
Chris, I think
or maybe even someone like a Jaden, someone that can, back up someone like, as far as oh, you guys can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we got you.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Shoot, my bad. But yeah, so as far as Milton goes, we got to be careful but getting hyped with people at the end of the season like this, because that's what got us in trouble, last year. We're always looking at these last few games when people got their second and third string in and we're playing against, second and third string quarterbacks. So we gotta stop buying into that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. And then Severe, any final thoughts on just kind of what went down today, all the things that we talked about, but at the same time, man, let everybody know what you're up to and what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Season has come to an end. It's my first full season as a Raiders content creator, man. It was the worst season of all time to start.
It was a brutal one to get through. I'm not gonna lie.
It's tough.
The worst season to start being a Raiders content creator. It was terrible, but it was it's interesting, man. Interesting what the team does, man. It's going to be an interesting offseason, whether or not we decide to keep Antonio Pierce or not. Seems like we're going to be right back to where we were this previous offseason, trying to identify a head coach, trying to identify a quarterback. And that's not the position you want to be in if you hope to be winning as a franchise. So, but yeah, man, y'all know where to find me, the Severe Raider, YouTube, IG, X, Snapchat, TikTok, all that good stuff, man. Tuesdays, rocking film breakdown with my guys, 805 and Chris. We usually do the post games, but this is the last game of the year, which has mercifully ended for us. And then I got a 50-50 show on Tuesday nights with Pharaoh, and then Around the Shield with my guys, Big Mike and Pharaoh as well. And also hit up the 50-50 shop. We got it's link is going to be in my description. We got all kind of Raiders merch down there, man. So check your boy out, man.
Yeah, man. And the Living Legend N1, Gruden's drops are terrible. Yes, horrible.
Yeah.
I can't give Gruden any credit with his drafts, man. I don't even want to get into it, to be honest with you.
If Gruden comes back, yeah, I'd be that almost be it for me. That almost be
shut down the channels, damn it.
That would almost take me out, man.
The Truth 91, you're just saying you hope to give AP another chance. Remember, we kind of went through that in the show, so definitely go back. We give our opinion on that. But Daniel Kim, appreciate you, man. Always good seeing you in the building. All right, guys. Again, we're going to hit you guys on Tuesday. we're going to go through the game film one last time. Chargers versus Raiders. Again, I know we lost, but we're definitely going to watch our boy Tyree, see what he did. It's always fun.
One tackle.
Shout
out to my guy Rundown, by the way. Shout out to
But, at the end of the day, you guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe wherever you're all at. You got Chris Protect Show podcast, as well as The Severe Raider. I'm 805 Raider, Real Talk Raider Nation. Not only do I do the lives, I'm going to do more lives in this offseason. I didn't do lives up until maybe midway through this season. I mainly just kind of do my videos and post them and stuff. So definitely check out the videos. But, at the end of the day, definitely going to do more lives, and we're going to hit you guys with a ton of content in this offseason. News, rumors, draft, free agents, people that release, people that we pick up, all that fun stuff, and definitely give you our opinions as we kind of move into the 25 season. So, but also make sure you guys hit that notifications, because I think we might do some watch parties during the playoffs. Just kind of jump on, and we can still kind of talk the shit, shoot the shit a little bit, and have some fun. But even though the Raiders are done, I'm gonna start diving more into the college prospects to really get an idea as to who I truly want. And I definitely want to jump on and mesh a little bit with my guys over here, because definitely respect you guys' opinions and definitely want to get you guys' feedback on it. Because one thing we can do is kind of keep ourselves in line a little bit, because we ain't going to hold back. We're definitely going to say it how it is. And we're going to definitely give you guys how we feel, no matter if it's popular or not. It's going to be real. So,
hey, shout out to my boy Sharif in the chat, man. That's Black Thanos, man. He do not like Telesco, man.
I kept seeing the hashtags.
Nah, he good people, man. He good people. I want to have him on one of my shows soon to have a little debate with him, because there
you go. Oh, turn that one.
Look, I like how he gives his because he's on IG and he does some good content too, man. So I respect him, but I like to have a healthy little, talk with him.
I feel you, man. Steve, hey, man, you started right and you're ending it right. I appreciate you with the super chat. I'd rather listen to same topics from different Raider YouTubers than watching TV. This is fam. Shout out to mods and everyone being part of this.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, man. Steve, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, starting it out right and ending it the same way. And just so you guys know, look, like, we're on here and we just kind of talk our opinion, right? And that's the hard part. And especially with some of the beat writers and stuff, they got to be careful on what they say. And what you're going to get from us is we're just going to talk it how it is. We're going to talk the truth, and we're just going to let you guys know. And it does come from some experience, right? Just to kind of let you know, I'm not some random person that decided to just jump on and talk about it. I coached it for 23 years. I played it for 15 years at multiple levels. And so I think I could talk about it, but I definitely know I got a lot to learn as well. And I learned from these guys on the screen, but I also learned from the chat a little bit, because I know there's definitely some few of you that definitely know what the hell you're talking about. We definitely appreciate you guys coming through. So, but again, make sure you hit that notification bell. Stick with us throughout the entire offseason. We're going to keep hitting with you guys with content. Enjoy the rest of the football season. Enjoy the rest of your day. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one. We're out.